Germany crosses Holland's neutral border. This is World War II, and yes, the Poland. I'm Matthias. So, in the past videos, we've been talking about the invasion of Belgium and France and all those other countries that are kind of tied and woven together in the invasion of France and the Low Countries. So, the Low Countries aren't the same without Netherlands or Holland. So I will be using Holland a lot. So Holland is the same in 1940 as the Netherlands. And also Holland is Danish. So I will be saying Danish too, because that is also correct. So just like Belgium, the Netherlands, or Holland, was neutral. Just like the First World War, 25 years earlier, it avoided joining the Allies after a request from France and Britain. And after Germany's growing ambitions in growing the Third Reich in Austria and Hungary, and Italy attacking Albania in the spring of 1939. The war had not yet happened because there was just war between certain countries, though the world knew that it was imminent that a world war was going to break out. The Great War apparently did not end all wars. Yes, newsflash, it did not end all wars. Holland had suspicions, but like the Great War, they thought that Hitler would respect Holland's neutrality, and between 1933 and 1936, the Netherlands did very little to prepare for inevitable German attack. They started rearming when Hitler took over the German government, but very slowly compared to Britain and France. Britain and France were both making things. They were either producing many of them, making designs, building the Maginot Line, so France did. Britain was in trade relations and trying to make a deal with the US because the US right now is neutral, but they need planes to continue in the Battle of Britain, which I also have a video on. Only in 1936 did Holland's military budget increase, with full rearmament in 1939, kind of late in the war to do much, when Holland increased its budget to 900 million guilders, or the Danish Holland currency, or about 502 million American dollars, and their goal was to get at least 100,000 men by 1939. And after the invasion of Denmark and Norway, it was likely that Germany would use airborne troops, just like the first airborne attack on Denmark, and Oslo and important air bases in Norway, and attacks in Denmark to connect Danish islands. So, because Netherlands has close relations with both Norway and Denmark, they knew that this was going to happen, so they prepared in ways. So the Dutch and Bulgarians or Belgians, that's how you say it, put extra men, armored cars, tanks, and AA guns at airports and at other places of strategic importance that they thought Germany would need. Airports, important military buildings, the government buildings, stuff like that. But Holland did not openly share its relations with Germany, mostly because Holland traded heavily with Germany, and if they expressed their feelings to Germany, then it would likely cut off relations with Germany, which would end Holland sooner than if they had resist. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill encouraged Belgium and the Dutch to not wait for the German attack, and they both refused, even though German plans, through certain resources that I will talk about later, had fallen into Allied hands in January. So that was January, February, March, April. So that was 5 months before the actual attack. And that was in 1940. In 1940, France's Supreme Command did contemplate breaking the Low Countries' neutrality, just like Germany, kind of funny, yes, by invading them in the summer of 1940 if they did not sign the Anglo-French coalition, making them allies with French, which was important to them because then they could aid supplies, and Belgium and Netherlands could support France in holding it. Because also, if they weren't allies, they were either bad guys, there's only two sides. You're either a good guy or a bad guy. That's just how it went back then. But fearing a negative public reaction, they vetoed it. After Operation Vasillon, the attack of Denmark and Norway in the same day, April 9th, 1940, and so after Operation Vasillon in 1940, a warning from a Japanese attaché that was close to certain Dutch officials. Its wartime productions went up and started to prepare for the inevitable invasion of Holland. On April 10th, Britain and France, during a month before battle, offered to join the Allies, but Holland refused. Again, because of trade relations, and because, if possible, if there's anything that Holland can do, just like Belgium, Norway, and Denmark, they would like to stay neutral. Partly because the Great Depression in 1920 hit Holland pretty hard, and they took serious bang from that. It's also very small, doesn't have the biggest military, and it would be very easy to overpower, though it was nicknamed the Holland Fortress. Netherlands, very, very powerful. Just like Belgium, there was some resistance. But declared a state of emergency on April 19th, that's 21 days before the attack on April 10th. The Dutch strategy to defend Holland was so they have the WW2 IEB. It's a water line that kind of blocks off this certain part, kind of in the middle of Holland, and it was constructed in the 17th century to defend from the Netherlands from the invasion of Dutch during the Franco-Dutch War. So this is the line in the middle of Holland that is closest to the ocean, so it kind of blocks off. It's pretty cool. I have a map in that in the slideshow. It is a series of rivers, lakes, swampland, tiny ocean, seas that protect the most important Danish cities, like the capital. But it was too shallow for boats, but too wet for vehicles, and too muddy, making it very hard to cross. So the Danish reinforced this line and added more modern defenses to it, such as cement pillboxes, trenches, and artillery. Because if something was made in the 1600s, then it's not going to be the best quality. So the reason that Germany attacked Netherlands was to avoid, just like Belgium, was to avoid the French Maginot Line. So by passing going through Belgium and the Netherlands, it could get France in the weakest point where there is no Maginot Line. I don't know why they didn't think about that, assuming that it also happened during World War I when Kaiser Wilhelm invaded through Belgium into France. So though Germany considered not invading Holland, just certain parts of it, WW line, because it was very hard, but decided it would give the Allies a foothold, like Normandy in 1940, in Europe to land supplies and men. And we all know if you have a wall, except for this part, someone gets through, your wall is useless. So, this would give the Allies men who would basically be, they wouldn't need Normandy anymore, basically. The German plan of attack was to do a sweeping motion near the top, coming down the middle, and then Holland from the top, and with some pushing attacks up into the round towards the northwest and down into Belgium, then into France. Along with the paratrooper division and an airborne infantry division landing and trying to capture the airfield around the Dutch government building within a few miles of that. This was after they decided not to attack inside the Gribby line because it was not needed, but then the attack was put on again. But the infantry and the airborne units that were going to jump out of planes and land there were already diverted. Some German officers were actually given lessons on how to address the Dutch royalty. The plan was to get the Duchess Queen, which would ultimately collapse the Danish government. And if the government did not collapse, and if they would basically be encouraged to, they would be encouraged to surrender by the officers that landed there. And if the government did not collapse, and the outcome was not how Hitler or Germany saw it, the German bridges nearby would be secured, and mechanized support men and other supplies would go in and meet the Queen and convince the taking, I guess, of the Dutch government. And at the same time, an offensive would start on the Gribby line. And if it did not break by the first day, it would wait a few days, and on the third day, the Luftwaffe, the German Air Force, would, and heavier tanks and men would break it. Though there was no deadline of when Holland had to be secure and in German control, the quicker the better. Germany only wanted Holland to get France and Belgium, actually considered not attacking certain parts of it for obvious reasons. Holland, along with heavy bombing and airdrops on Rotterdam, the Danish capital, Holland, Netherlands capital, Holland would surely fall. And the Germans did not like the idea, and the Germans actually did not like the idea of invading neutral Holland. Well, Hitler did, just a lot of his officers and other officials did not. So Hans Oster, an agent in the German military intelligence, contacts his Danish friend in the Danish government and gives him as much information as possible, such as important offensives that will take place in the invasion of Belgium, and the date and time roughly that it would happen. He passed it, his friend passed it on to the British SAS, or SAS, which informed the Allies. But because of bad weather and delay in preparations, and it just wasn't the right time, the date was off. So the Danish government took no heed with these false alarms, and the prediction did not come true. The SAS knew about Operation Varsity-Uppung, but Holland did not care. They also knew about the pre-invasion of Holland, Denmark, and Norway, but Holland did not care. On May 4th, 6 days before the attack, Pope Pius VII of Vatican City warned Holland of the attack. I personally think I would take it if a pope from a different place in the world called you and said, "You're gonna get whooped." But That did not happen. On May 9th, Oster's phoned his friend saying, in my quotes, "tomorrow at dawn," which was correct, and the Dutch soldiers were put on immediate alert, along with lockdown, and put into a state of emergency. Oster was in charge of the German resistance. Yes, Germany did actually have active resistance members, the ones that did not like the Nazi Party at all. And he was in charge, or the figurehead of the German resistance from 1938 to 1943, 1 year before he was hanged, 1944, for being in charge of the July 20th bomb assassination, or attempt to assassinate Hitler, that failed in 1940. Which is kind of a shame because it did not work and he was hanged for it, but Hitler killed himself that same year on April 30th, 1944. Yeah, that's it. So I'm sorry to bug you, but yeah, that's all. So we did a lot of politics stuff. Well, sorry if how the layout of my writing and stuff is inconsistent. I've been toying with different ways to write it. I do want to make my videos more longer and more precise. So I will be having 2 episodes for each invasion. One will be about how the government was, the defensive and the offenses of Germany and Belgium, or whatever countries I'm doing, what the government was like, how it was, any key figureheads. And then during that invasion, I'll do all the invasions, and then I'll come back through and pick out 1 or 2 important battles in that invasion, and I will go deeper onto them. I will also be putting out a video about what life was like in, say, occupied Belgium, or were there any resistance moves. And then I will be doing a video about its recapture by the Allies in, whenever it is, see Belgium in 1945. So thank you for watching. If you would like to check out my other videos, please check them out. Please like, share, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you can see when I put out new videos. If you would like to see me grow, please just support me in any way you can. Subscribing is probably the best way. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments below, personal or about the Second World War, or go to my community page on my channel and list it there. So I will be going through, I go through every comment, so I will be looking at questions and I will answer them to the best of my abilities. Thank you for watching. I'm Matthias. I'll see you next time.